So I had no intention on doing another video for Katy Perry Sweet Treats, but unfortunately there's a couple things I missed in my initial review that I think are worth their own video. The first thing I want to mention is that I said that there were no hairs in the pack. That's because they didn't load correctly, and when I clicked on the hats they weren't there. Now I found them, so now we can go through and take a look at those because those are absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing, and kind of the main purpose for this video, is that there are 3 builds that come with this pack. So I just booted up Riverview, which is a base game world, and I figured that it was the most appropriate to test it out because this is just a stuff pack, so it's not like you get your own world with it. I considered giving it the benefit of the doubt and putting it in Starlight Shores, but I mean, like, you might not have got Showtime, you might have just got Katy Perry's Sweet Treats. So we're gonna put it in the world and we're just gonna like see if we can at least believe it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Let's just jump into Create a Sim and get a look at these hairs. So here's our test sim. I just like to randomize a name just to give them some personality. Oh my god, Venus Kane. That sounds like a joke or like a drag queen name, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. But yes, I'm just gonna lower myself down so we can kind of get a better look at these. My goodness, there seems to be a lot of options for us. There's actually more hairs than I expected, so let's see what we got. The first one is kind of a cool texture. It kind of reminds me of that cotton candy tree, but it doesn't really look like hair. It just kind of looks like a bad wig with like a weird thing in the front. It actually doesn't get better no matter which color you change it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, this I didn't understand because this looks like the Wicked Witch just took a dump while she was flying over her. Actually, my first thought was that it looks like a bicycle helmet from the Flintstones, but I mean, in either case, I am just not feeling it. And like, I understand the mint chocolate chip color, but what the hell is the pink one, right? Like, that doesn't really look like cookie dough. At least this looks like a real cookie, but I would never want a cookie on my head. What is this? Like a tiara? Like, has Katy Perry worn this? Like, this is ugly. And again, like, you can change the color, but not for everything, like not for the candy and stuff. So like, you're kind of stuck with this. What is this? Like a flower? Actually, you know what? This is kind of cute. I was being a little bit bitchy to begin with. I think this is by far the best hair, and you could absolutely use this in like Isla Paradiso or in Sunlit Tides or something, and I think you might be able to get away with it. I don't know. And this is kind of like the last one, which is like the most basic, but like it isn't really adult enough. Like, I would definitely have like maybe a teen with this hair, but like probably a child. Like, it just doesn't work for this age stage. And since we have Katy Perry Sweet Treats installed, I may as well put her into one of the outfits. Now, I will mention, I said this in like the last video, but ever since, I have been using this dress like crazy. This is my go-to Bella Goth dress. I love it. And as we learned from our review before, like, you can definitely find like the positives in this pack. It's just like the whole thing together just doesn't really make any sense to me, but I'm gonna try and make her as pretty as I possibly can. Okay, this is as pretty as I can make her without actually like using anything from the base game or any other pack. So let's just jump in, like, we'll move her into some house and then we're gonna check out these builds. I cannot wait. Come to think of it, with my build review series, I only do the occupied houses, so why don't we have like a little fun and we'll kind of review this Riverview starter house. It's called Tish Cottage. I just picked one randomly. It said it was good for like starting a family, which is usually how I play The Sims, so I thought this would be like the most appropriate for me. So let's take a look. I don't like it from what I can see already. Okay, well, good to know that I bought like an ugly greenhouse in Riverview, but you know what? I'm kind of being mean. I really like the green used here, and I kind of like the landscaping. The porch is pretty. The roof isn't ugly. I'm actually pretty impressed. This is pretty good for an EA build. There's not too many windows. There's a little seating area outside, and I actually like when the starter homes like don't really have that much personality, because I like to kind of put like my own Sims personality into it, and that's kind of hard to do when you have like a bold style. Well, speaking of bold style, EA loves to hide it inside, so let's take a look. Okay, so you know what I'm about to say about this wallpaper, but I mean, you know what? It kind of suits the Katy Perry vibe. Like, this is probably the most Katy Perry house we could have picked. Look at this kitchen. I actually don't hate this color palette. It's just a little bit too bold, but I don't mind that because sometimes like you can just kind of dial it back. I could change the flooring to just white tile and it would be fine, you know? Oh, there's a bathroom sink in the kitchen though. The bedroom is like, oh, like why? Look at the hearts on this thing. This actually looks like a Katy Perry Sweet Treats dresser, if I'm honest. And no kidding, it's got a green bathroom, but the tub isn't green and the toilet isn't green, so it's not too bad. What's the other bedroom look like? It's got a green bed and green walls too. Like, this is like all my pet peeves together, but all together, it's not that bad. I particularly like the inside, and from what I've seen, Simmers would rather like renovate or redecorate the inside of a house than have to worry about the shell. So enough of Tish Cottage, that's not why you're here. So the builds in Katy Perry Sweet Treats are actually community lots. So I'm gonna plop them down and we're gonna have Venus Kane here kind of make her rounds in the neighborhood and check out some of the new businesses. First up is the Cake Pleasure Dome. So let's check this thing out. I recognize a lot of the build objects, which I never figured out how to use, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt and kind of see what happened. So ignoring the styling, the architecture isn't too bad. This is very clever, how they made it look like this is like a cutout cake. I am really impressed by this. I think these are just like columns, and I was like, how the hell are you gonna use these columns? But I can see like using them as like a birthday cake topper. That totally makes sense. And I mean, they definitely put some care into the lattice fencing and whatnot. The roofing could have been done better. I think the roofing is kind of like basic and ugly. I would have went further with this whole cake thing. I would have made the whole thing different cakes. That would have been really cool too. I think if you're going for a bold style, you may as well go for it. The landscaping in the front is actually really pretty and would work for like a normal business. Now, I do not like the color scheme here. I do not like the blue and the pink really together. It's a little bit too like baby boy or baby girl. We need a third color. We need like a they be color, you know, like it's a little bit too dichotomous. Okay, let's just jump inside. I am really curious to see what they did inside. Now, they use those arcade machines. I was wondering like how you would possibly use them. They use a lot of the decorative objects. They use that banana split couch that I think is absolutely awful. I don't like this chair either. They had some nice seats, and I think they used all of the worst ones in this build. The tile is kind of nice. I like the pink and the blue when it's dialed back a little bit. This is kind of a nice little palette, but like when it's deeper like this, oh, what is this thing? I don't even remember seeing this. Like, it looks like a gay Republican tried to blow up the building. Like, I don't even understand. Okay, so like it's kind of like a little like cafe, I guess. The cotton candy is the bartender. I don't fully understand that either. You know what? Like, looking at the whole thing, I think the cake roof is a perfect 10. That is amazing, but the rest of it is just not for me, and I just don't see it fitting into Sunset Valley or Riverview at all. If you don't have Showtime, this thing doesn't make very much sense. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you can use stuff like this, but I don't get it. I'm gonna give this a 3. All 3 points are for this cake. Honestly, like, I love this cake thing. Like, I like, this is the most creative thing that I've ever seen the EA build, and it was in a Katy Perry build, so I don't know. Next up is Patty's Natural Baths. What kind of name is that? I don't quite understand it. Okay, now I understand why they actually made like a wall tile, because they're using it for the pool, and like in the pool it looks way better. I tried to use it in a kitchen. That was just like completely disgusting. I never saw this before. I think that there's like a few features maybe in the build mode that I missed. I think there's like a plant I don't recognize, and there's a few like sculpture-y things, so they might be in like landscaping or whatever. Oh, they used my favorite chairs. So these are my favorite chairs from the entire pack. They look really comfortable. They look stylish. They look modern. And see, like when you put them next to a pool, it kind of looks luxurious. I really like the pink and the blue used here. I think it's because like the blue is a little bit more on the teal side, so it's definitely more my style. It's actually the same color as my frame. Okay, so here's like the water slide. I don't know if that's like a great place for it, like right in front of the bathrooms. It's kind of bizarre, but this looks like a routing issue nightmare. Like if you slide, then you're gonna end there, come back here, people are gonna come out of the bathroom. It's just like, I know it's gonna clog up. Now I know that they put like 3 entrances, so that means like a lot of people are gonna be able to swarm in. So I think overall, even though this like doesn't look too bad, I particularly like the trees and the landscaping and stuff, but I think this is going to be a nightmare to use, and I'm afraid to even unpause my game to get it started. And again, it just does not fit in with the base game. Like the tropical trees especially, like it kind of makes it worse. I'm going to give this pool a 2. I'm giving it 1 point for this pink and 1 point for this beautiful blue, and I'm glad that they chose my favorite color for like the majority of the pool area. If this pool was pink, I would have hated it. And last but not least, doesn't even really have a build. It's Bonbon Landing. Okay, well, at least like bright colors and stuff are appropriate for children. The one thing I noticed right away is this hideous fence, and they tried putting it in different colors. That didn't make it look nice. The hedges didn't make it look nice. My favorite part of the landscaping is this bush, and it's like 1 tile big. The rest, actually, I will say, I'm glad the cotton candy bushes are kind of blocking the ugly picnic tables. Not a fan of those. Oh my God, it's the Lollipocalypse. I forgot about this thing. Oh, look at it down here. There's a sandbox. I never noticed that before either. I'm actually discovering a few things from the pack by looking at the builds. I guess I didn't necessarily find everything, but yeah, like there isn't even like a building with this, but it is a child's park. And quite frankly, I know it's like a weird like opinion, but I think the park fits in the best with the base game, because sometimes like kids areas like have all sorts of crazy colors, and like even in the middle of like a suburban street, like like you'll have like a daycare that looks like a rainbow. So I kind of understand that. And since I play with a lot of kids, at least I would use something like this. But it just kind of reminds me of like my first park. Like actually the little detail here with like the fountain and the lollipocalypse, I can't even believe I'm saying that word. This is the prettiest thing. And this shows that like they know how to build and they know style. And then like it just kind of like went downhill. I like the concept, but as like a build, I don't know. At least I would use it. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 because it's not hideous. I would use it, and like, I guess if you stuck it in Sunset Valley or Riverview, you could at least justify it. Well, that was kind of a short build review. I didn't really know how else to do this because as you can see, these builds don't really kind of go in with anything. I was thinking of doing them with the Starlight Shores review, but I thought this deserved a video all on its own because these are kind of like iconic in a way. I don't hate the pack. I don't hate the builds. It's just so peculiar and just so not for me. And I know a lot of people like this pecks people's curiosity. So I thought I would like deep dive and explore it. So I think at this point, I've shown you everything in the Katy Perry Sweet Treats kind of catalog. But what did you think? I know some of you like this pack. So let me know in the comment section down below, like, have you played with it? Do you like it? Can you find a place for these builds? And have you used these builds before? Because I certainly haven't, and I don't think I'm going to. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. In hindsight, it could have been a lot worse. Like I was expecting way worse than this. I wasn't mortified, I wasn't baffled, and they actually used the items that they created for these builds, I think, in the best possible way. But the next build review will be like a little more serious like you're used to, so stay tuned. Boom.